What's up? Welcome back to the vlog. Actually, it is not a vlog, but we put together some epic content for you to enjoy. It is my top 10 best waves of the winter. Hope you're psyched because, you know, we're not that psyched here right now because the waves aren't good, but we put together an epic compilation of some of my favorite rides. Hope you guys are ready for this epic edit. This is probably the best one of the year because of all these clips. It is time to start that music. All right, so starting off at number 10, there's a lot of cool factors that comes into making this wave so good. And one of the big factors is a lot of sand. So this wave was at rock piles. Rock piles is normally not like this. I realized that we had this certain swell trend. It pushed a bunch of sand to rock piles, and it made it the best wave ever on the North Shore for that week while the sand was there. So this particular ride, I remember seeing the wave come in, it kind of peaked up. I was like, okay, this is exactly where I want to be. The wave's nice and wedgy. I want to take off behind it. And I was riding a smaller board. I chose to ride a smaller board because I knew that a lot of the takeoffs would be really late. So in this particular wave, I'm taking off pretty late. It's already barreling over me. It's trying to push me over the falls as I'm taking off. And I'm very confident that I'm gonna make this wave. Confidence is everything in this situation. So I'm just gonna dive into it right here on the computer. So as I'm coming off right there, I'm starting to realize, okay, I'm gonna make this wave. This waves look really nice and everything seems to be working well. I start to put on the brakes, which means I start to stall and I start to drag my inner thigh and my leg right here. And this tends to slow me down because maybe I should have been a little bit more deeper on the takeoff. As I'm dragging, one more big drag, looks like I run into like a little chop on the wave, and therefore I set my line, find exactly where I want to be. At this point, I'm in the barrel and I'm realizing I'm looking up to the left and there's a little chandelier and it's just about to start to drop into me, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna kind of lean forward and just kind of punch through this thing, because when those chandeliers hit you, it kind of like it comes down on your board. You lose vision of where you are in the barrel. Sometimes it directs you in different directions depending on how much water comes down. So as the chandelier comes down, I push through it, but at the same time the lips kind of folding back, and I'm like, oh my God, now I can't see anything in this barrel. That chandelier ruined it, but it also created this backdraft, and I was like, oh my God, wonder if I'm gonna make this barrel. So at this time, can't see anything. I'm gonna dive a little bit more into it. I realized, wow, I made it through. And then this is where it gets technical, and this is why I put it in my top 10, is because for one, it was a late drop. For two, it was a little bumpy off the bottom, but I put the brakes on. For three, it chandeliered, therefore it made me in this foam ball area, and as I'm coming out of the foam ball, it starts to spit really hard. And when it starts to spit really hard, I realize that I have the perfect line, so I just hold my line nice and steady, and it spits me right through the section. And as it's spitting, I'm realizing there's an oncoming section coming right at me. And I'm like, I just got to get out of this barrel so Jacob and Bill and the crew nail this clip. So as you see, as it's spitting, I'm kind of like trying to show like, yeah, I'm out. And then you can see the wave kind of cross into it. And the cross wave that's coming into it is from a northeast direction, and this wave was coming from the northwest. So what was happening this day is we had swell from the northeast and the northwest, which was making it really peaky and therefore making some really cool, unique waves. Hope you enjoyed number 10. All right, diving into number 9. This to me was a very fun, unique, perfect pipeline wave. It wasn't the biggest, it wasn't the best, but that's why it kind of slid in number 9. And considering we had a slow winter. So basically this wave comes in, I look to my left, Benji Brand sitting right there. I was seeing if he was gonna go, and he looked at me, he said, go. I looked over, Co Rothman was right there, and he's like looking at me, and I'm like, I'm already going. And yeah, so I take off on this wave. Actually, I'm paddling into this wave, and I actually thought I was gonna catch it a lot sooner than I actually did. And what happened was, this wave feathered up on the outside reef, and then it backed off as I was paddling for it. All this stuff was going on. So I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna catch it. And then I remember it was like all the spray going up in my face, and I'm like starting to take off on this wave, and it kind of lurches forward. And I'm just like, oh my God, just trust it, you know? So I'm trusting it, coming off the bottom. I remember I got to the bottom, and I was like, whoa, I'm really deep. So if you see a surfer at pipeline that is not stalling and is constantly pumping, that means the surfer is very deep. So in this wave in particular, I am actually get to the bottom, a light weird stall, and then I just start pumping. I'm doing these, like, we call them like a whip, and I'm whipping from my hand to my hips up. And I'm like whipping. I'm like, oh my God, the whole time I'm in this barrel, the foam ball is just right behind me. It's kind of moving me, and it wants to ruin my whole wave. It wants to just like project me straight into the lip and over the falls and slam the reef. But I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna make this. And then it, like, as I kind of get through that part, I'm like, wow. It starts, I see the perfect picture. I'm like, this thing's perfect. It starts spitting. I remind myself, don't move, don't make any like weird adjustments. Just keep my line straight, and you're gonna come out, and the thing spit extra hard, probably spit twice as hard as I actually thought it was. And it was because this wave was bigger, and it was trying to ledge on the outside of the reef, and it backed off. So it had a lot of water on the inside reef at pipeline for this size of the wave. And to me, I was really happy with this wave. And you know, after this wave, I went in because I was like, okay, my day is complete, I'm good. And yeah, that is number 9. I hope you enjoyed that. All right, getting to number 8. This wave was really fun. This wave was actually at Off the Wall. I looked at pipe this day, and I was like, okay, pipe's really crowded. There's people everywhere. There's 4 or 5 guys out at Off the Wall. I'm gonna paddle out to Off the Wall. The winds were perfect. They were coming out of the southeast. Usually the winds are coming out of the east-northeast. So now we have winds blowing straight offshore versus straight into the barrel at pipeline. And I was really psyched to catch this wave. I saw it pop up on the horizon, and as it's coming in, I'm like, oh, this is a good one. I start paddling. I'm pushing my chest down extra hard, because when you need speed, momentum, you gotta push your chest down really hard, forward on the board. I actually rode a bigger board than I should have this day, but it actually helped me get waves that I probably wouldn't have caught. So this wave taking off, I thought I was gonna get in pretty early, but unfortunately I didn't, but it felt pretty good, because like as I was dropping in, it kind of like the whole wave like bottomed out, where like the bottom of the wave kind of like falls, and the wave actually ends up standing taller. And I remember like, wow, I'm in the perfect spot. And as I'm getting off the bottom, I'm like, wow, there's no time for stalling. There's no time for for nothing. I need to get up and start moving to make this barrel. And I remember like pulling in the barrel, I was like, wow, this thing's so perfect, the winds, everything, but I'm like, I'm really deep. So as you can see, I'm like kind of weaving and pumping as fast as I could. There was not one time in this barrel where I let off the throttle. I was like pumping for my life to make this wave. And to me, this wave is, you know, really cool and unique because how deep I was and I wasn't really stalling. It's not the biggest wave, but to me, as far as like a clean, beautiful, perfect cylinder, you know, 5 or 6 foot right off the wall, it holds a good value to me in this winter. And you know, these are the reasons why I like surfing, is to catch beautiful waves like this. And as you can see, there's multiple different angles of this wave from the GoPro, so you understand how deep I am to the land clip. You know, not even being 100% straight on, this wave was epic. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, diving into number 7, this wave was a 4, maybe 5 foot, I wouldn't even give it 5 foot, a 4 foot wave at backdoor. These are the waves that you search for at backdoor. I remember taking off really deep on the bowl, and I was like, when I was paddling for this wave, I wasn't sure if I was gonna make it or not. It didn't look perfect, but it looked like if there was a chance or an opportunity to get a good wave, maybe this was one of them. So what I did was I turned around and I started paddling, actually almost missed it. And as I almost missed it, it kind of made me take off late, and I kind of got a really good pump off the bottom and I pulled in. And to me, at backdoor or at pipe or anywhere that I go in the world, if I could get in the barrel in the beginning, so you'll see the lip kind of throw over me, and then it'll throw over me and throw over me like 3 different times. There's like 3 different sections. And what made this wave really cool is as I was pulling in the first one, I didn't know if I was going to even make the second one. And as I'm in the barrel, I kind of backdraft, which the spit kind of sucks back because the barrel went big and went small, and there's this air compression going on. I hit a little foam ball, but it's kind of perfect, and I got this perfect speed going in the barrel, and I'm pumping through the barrel, and I'm like, oh my God, here comes the next section. And I'm like, okay, got this next section, roll right through, right by this photographer. And in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna get that clip. Who is that guy? And then I started to think, okay, I'm in this barrel, I need to make this barrel, because on this particular day, this was the best wave I caught. And I remember like looking off the wall, because I was in the barrel at backdoor. I remember looking off the wall, and I started to see a crumble, and it's like a lip, and I'm like, okay, I got to doggy door this thing. So as I'm in the barrel, I start trying to turn out, and a doggy door is, you know, it's a small little door, and you're always trying to sneak out this door. When we catch these waves that are incredible, sometimes they don't let you out the front door, so you got to doggy door it. So as I'm pumping, and I start to draw my line down, and I'm like, oh my God, and the lip kind of like squeezes me, and it just hits me, rolls off my back shoulder, taps my back of my board, and I go, whoa. I'm like, oh my God, I made it. Like, it was like, to me, it was a really cool wave because I surprised myself on the wave, and I didn't really know if I was gonna make the wave or not. It wasn't the biggest wave, but to me, it felt really good. And I just, you know, thinking about this video that we're making, I just really want to share that wave with you. All right, number 6 coming in pipeline. I am on my Takoro 6-7. It was an afternoon where there wasn't a lot of waves, and I waited honestly an hour for this wave. And when this wave started coming through, I realized, okay, this is a really great wave. I remember being pretty deep, and when the wave came through, I was like, okay, I'm taking this one. And I start paddling, I get up, and I'm kind of grabbing the rail, and then I realized like, oh, this is kind of a really unique and different wave at pipeline. So I let go of the rail, and then I pump into it, and I'm like, wow, I backdoored this whole section. There was no stalling involved. I was like perfectly set up, and I was standing in this big barrel, you know, like this big green barrel in the afternoon, because in the afternoon at pipeline, the waves become green in the barrel because the sun's shining through the lip. So I'm in this barrel, and I'm realizing as I'm in the barrel, I need to grab my rail and I need to slow down because I actually went into this barrel going too fast. So to me, there's a technical aspect of riding this wave correctly because I don't want to go in the barrel and out of the barrel as fast as I can. So I grab my rail, I drop my hip super hard. I probably, if I go in the barrel, I'm going like, you know, like 8-10 miles an hour, and then I drop my hip. Now I'm going 4 miles an hour, and it actually stalls me and puts me deeper back in the barrel. So I'm maximizing my barrel time right here, and as I'm dragging, it spits. But as it's spitting, I'm looking outside the barrel going, okay, there's a perfect line. If I just hold this line right here and just trust it, I'm gonna come out of here. So it spits, and I can't see anything for like at least a second or two, and I'm just like, hold it, hold it, hold it. And then and next thing you know, I'm already in another barrel, and it's like a little small cylinder barrel at pipe. And it's like, oh, it's so small, but stay in here, stay in here. And then boom, I doggy doored it. And to me, why I really like this wave is because there was a technical aspect of riding this wave. Once again, it wasn't the biggest, but technically how I engaged in my rail with the no hand pump to the no hand pull in to grabbing my rail in the barrel, dropping all my speed, getting deep again, it's spitting, the spit clearing up from not being able to see to holding my line and riding this barrel and maximizing the tube time. And that's what it's really all about, is how can you maximize the tube time? So if you're out there trying to get barrel and you're trying to maximize tube time, just always look at the barrel and understand when the barrel is done barreling, that's when you should be coming out of the barrel. And I felt like I did a pretty good example in showcasing this on this wave. All right, so I hope you liked that last one, but really quick, make sure you guys check out staypsyched.com. We have the sickest shirts. I'm telling you that this shirt is the shirt because I help keep people psyched. It is the best shirt ever. Are you kidding me? Make sure you check it out. Links in the description below. Staypsyched.com. Let's get into the next one. All right, so number 5, I am on a catch surf 9-foot log. There's something so special about this wave, and if I was on my Takoro, I probably wouldn't have caught it. I remember waiting out the back for 8 to 10 foot sets this day on the big board, just so I could slide in early and get a crazy barrel. But I remember seeing this wave, and I saw the way it was hitting the reef. It looked really nice, it looked approachable. And the craziest thing about riding such a big board sometimes is you're able to track waves down. And on this particular wave, it was way inside, but it seemed like it had a lot of water. And I was like, oh, I really want this wave. So I paddled it down, and I remember taking off thinking, yeah, this is gonna be a pretty easy one. But I remember halfway through that I was in the air, and I'm like, whoa, this is a gnarly one. Do not fall on this drop. And all I could think of is like, oh my God, I'm on a soft top right now. Like, this is gonna be hard to pull off. Like, it's hard to pull off the airdrop and connect it back in on a Takoro. And at a wave of these consequences, I was probably in the middle of this going, do not fall, possibly on the wrong board, but you got this. Like, these are the things I strive for, right? So boom, I connect the drop. I can't even believe I made it. And then I just drag off the bottom, and then this wave is so mutant. And it's not the biggest wave at pipe, but it was really mutant. And it's kind of got this, like, as you can see when it comes together and I'm like setting it up, it's really flat bottom. And what I mean by flat bottom, there's some waves that like have a really nice curvature on them. And this one was really like square. We call them like square mouths. Like, they're just like this, and they're always thicker, they're hollower, they spit harder, they're harder ways to ride in the barrel. And this was a super inside double up square one. And I remember being like in the barrel, and my board was like kind of like trying to purl, and I was like, no, don't purl, don't purl, don't purl. But then at the same time I was like, oh, drag it, get deeper, and the thing just spit, unloaded, almost poked because my board was a little bit too big, but it just came out, and I was like, whoa, that one felt good. And I paddled back out to the lineup, and everyone's like, oh my God, I can't believe you made that wave. That was insane. I was like, really? That's okay. Like, it felt pretty crazy. Super lucky to make that drop. Watched the clip, and I was like, whoa. You know, once again, not the biggest, but technical aspect to this wave, to me, I was very happy with. this wave was a very easy wave to ride in the beginning. I remember taking off super early, dragging my leg off the bottom, and I'm dragging my leg, which I mean I'm dragging my hip and my inside of my thigh and my calves, and I'm sliding. I'm like, oh, I'm setting this thing up perfect. I'm in. It's like the dream wave at Pipe. You're in early. You took away the heavy drop factor. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, I'm so perfect. I'm burning as much speed as I can, like, so I could be at the deepest point of this wave. And as I get to the bottom, this wave goes square, and it does this thing where the wave kind of goes like this, because it like bottoms out. I don't know why, but it gets shallower when the lip hits. It just, there's so much water displacing, and the water's going everywhere. And my board was like kind of this weird adjustment. As you can see in the drone shot, my board kind of goes up and my tail falls down, and then my nose falls back down, and then it catches again. And at that moment I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall, and this is not a good spot. I'm really deep, it's a really heavy wave. And lucky the board engaged again, and then I was just like holding my rails, like, no way I'm gonna make this wave. This thing is insane. And then it spit me out, and I was like, whoa, that was incredible. Because as you can see in the drone shot, there's some big weird adjustments. There's some foam coming up into the wave. Like, this wave was pissed off. It wanted to eat me, but somehow I was able to ride this wave so perfectly. And for one, the soft top got me in early. For two, it kind of gave me what I wanted on the wave. It made it difficult for me, and that's why, if you're wondering why I ride the soft top, it's because it gives me another challenge. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but at the same time, it paddles so good that I get into these waves incredibly early, which is really the dream. All right, number 3, this is on the way to Coro. Once again, it's not the biggest wave, but to me, it is a technical ride. I take off, on a 5-footer inside ledge, nice and square, late takeoff, pop off, get a nice pump into it, start dragging, get nice and deep through the first part of the barrel. And as the wave's barreling, I'm already realizing that this wave's gonna barrel again. So what I do is I visualize how I wanna ride the next part of this barrel. And as I'm in the barrel, it spits, and then it starts to clear up, and then I just hold that one line. So if you're like trying to figure out barrel riding, you're like, oh, sometimes I come out the bottom, sometimes I do this. Sometimes you gotta look at it, visualize it, and trust it. And that's what I did on this wave. So after I did all the technical aspects of like stalling and setting my line, and it spit, and then I could have came out the bottom, but like I said, it's all about maximizing the barrel time. So I kind of held my line. Right when I saw my line, I held it, and I didn't really move. But sometimes I stay like lightly, like if the wave touches me like this, I'll like try and like ride it out. Like it pushes you this way, but you end up just trying to ride it out and hoping you're gonna make it. And that's what I did on this wave. Is I took off deep, pumped it super deep in the barrel, stalled, saw I was gonna barrel again, so I put the brakes on, and then I came out of the barrel, went straight into the next one. Like I said, I could have came out the bottom, but I didn't, because I want to maximize the barrel time. All right, so number 2, this wave, once again, it is on the Catch Surf 90 JOB log. What makes this wave really special to me is because the technicalities to making this wave was very difficult. It was probably my second most difficult wave to ride this winter. It doesn't matter what board you're on. As I said before, I'm trying to ride different boards, and the soft tops make it so much more fun for me. It's a different board, and it puts you through, all these elements of maybe you should have made that wave, but I kind of like that, because I like to think people to not think I'm gonna make the wave. So this wave, I took off, I wouldn't say early. So what happened on this wave is, as I'm taking off, I thought I was in kind of early, but I remember a friend made a last-second decision not to take this wave, because once again, it wasn't my turn on this one. So as I'm taking off, you can see I'm a little later. I drop all the way to the bottom of this wave. And the reason why I drop all the way to the bottom of this wave is it's not because like I'm trying to delay my bottom turn. It's because if I would have cranked it mid-face and pulled on my rail like I would do on the Tokoro, I would have went sliding, I would have went over the falls, probably slammed the reef, possibly got hurt. So I ride it all the way to the bottom of the wave. The lip is just touching the edge of my shoulder. This is something like you don't really do at pipeline, but the soft top sometimes puts you down there to make these little slight adjustments. And the whole thing about riding the board is like, as I'm going down, I'm like, I can't crank it too hard. I'm like thinking and I'm multitasking. And I'm like, just easy off the bottom. It's very slow, trust it, trust the lip, trust where you are. And as it's throwing over, it starts to, in the barrel, it starts to shoot up like all this like white water inside the barrel. We call it like the turbulence, or the foam ball starts shooting up. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm too deep. And the foam ball starts shooting over me like it's this whole other barrel. Like I got one barrel going this way, I got the foam ball shooting over this way in the turbulence, and I'm in that thing, but I'm like somehow perfectly placed in this barrel. And then I make it through that after I thought I was possibly gonna fall in the drop, fall in the foam ball, and then the foam ball just kicks me and it pushes the board up, as you can see in the drone, and it throws my nose of my board up like this, and my tail goes like this, and somehow I do this like little dance on the foam ball, and my board's just going like this, and then just sits back down, boom. I'm like, no freaking way I came out of this wave. And it's interesting to see, right? You see the land clip and you're like, wow, that was pretty sick. But then what I think makes this clip so unique, and I was so happy that the drone shot this from kind of looking into the barrel. I wouldn't say they could see 100% of what I'm talking about, but you could definitely see a big thing that what I'm talking about. And that's why this ride is so special to me, and I love it. You know, I think to me it's a very unique soft top wave, and potentially probably the best soft top barrel of my life. All right, number one on my list this winter. I remember this day. I watched it for 2 hours before I actually paddled out. There was a lot of weird waves. There was a lot of wonky waves, which I mean, they're kind of just going like this. They're not perfect, but the conditions were perfect. The winds were perfect. I don't know why it was so wonky, because everything looked ideal. There was a lot of wipeouts. I was just like, okay, I don't need to rush out there. I don't want to get hurt. And I remember just grabbing my helmet, paddling out this day, and I'm like, paddle straight out. And honestly, this was the first wave that I caught the whole day, and it was my best by far. But as I was paddling for this wave, I'm like, okay, this looks like a really good one. And it didn't look like anything crazy special. It just looked like a good wave. As I'm taking off, it starts to ledge on the reef, and it becomes, I would say, maybe like half the size. Well, if I thought this wave was going to be like a 6-footer, this wave turned into an 8-footer. And I don't know why sometimes the waves just unload on the reef different. And as I'm dropping in, I'm like, whoa, this is a gnarly one. And as I'm taking the drop, my fins somewhat come out of the water. My board I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna keep my board as straight as I possibly can. And I remember being super focused. I had the GoPro in my mouth, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, don't let go of the GoPro. You gotta just clench your jaw in the barrel. And as I came off the bottom, I pulled up really hard, but it kind of sent me like really low on the wave, kind of like how the soft top one did in the clip before. It like put me in a really low spot on the wave. And I remember just being down there. I'm like, whoa, this is not where I'm used to being, but I'll hang out here for a second. And then as I was right there, the foam ball did the same thing. It shot up, it hit my board, it bounced me, and then I landed, and then it just spit, and I was just like, oh my God, I made it. And I think what made this wave really cool to me was Billy Kemper paddled up to me later as he paddled out in the lineup, and he goes, Jamie, showing these young dogs what's up. You got the best wave of the morning, you know. And I'm sure there's better waves ridden throughout the day, but to me, I was like, wow, I really liked it. It was late, it was deep, it was steep, it was heavy, it was gnarly, there was a big spit, I hit the foam ball, and to me it was like, maybe I rode a different, better kind of wave, but to me the technicality that stands on this wave made this wave really special. And I don't know, I mean, I really hope you guys enjoyed the top 10 of my winter. There's plenty of other waves, and this is just my top 10 because there was so many amazing rides, and you know, this is just my top 10. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, psyching, let's go. All right, so before the vlog's done, I just wanted to let you know, if you're looking for a new pair of shoes, check out Cariuma for every pair of shoes that are bought. They plant 2 trees in the Brazilian rainforest, amazing things. This is an amazing company. And if you're looking for some very comfortable sneakers, check out these slip-ons, Rose. Personally, my favorite. I love traveling with these. And if you're looking for a comfy pair, make sure you check it out. Cariuma shoes. Link is in the description below. I can promise you some of the most comfortable shoes ever. And I'm not saying that just because I'm sponsored. I love these shoes and I love what they're doing, and they are amazing. Links in the description below. It's time to end the vlog. Don't forget, click the link right here to subscribe. Right here to watch more videos. Hit that site counter and make sure you check out StaySci.com.